Okay, so this is a trial run for doing a video for Rainy Press newsletter to go along with the newsletter itself. So this is going to be for June 2015, and I'm going to call these video notes. So the first one is going to be on author news, and by the way, this is Shawn Spute, aka Carrie Weston. I'm the author of the Remnant series and the Keys of Destiny. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is what's happening in my life. So summer has finally come to Seattle. If anybody knows the Northwest, you always know that it rains here almost as much as it does in England. That's probably not very fair to say, but anyway, we get a lot of rain. That's why slugs and ducks both love to live here. So anyway, summer has finally come to the Northwest. It's averages about 75 degrees with a breeze, which is my favorite weather. For an outing, last week my sister and Kathy and I spent the day down in Seattle, which is one of my very favorite cities in the whole world. We started out at the public market, watching the famous fish tosses. If you've ever seen those on Northwest Trek or maybe even National Geographic's, the fish market is famous for throwing fish. Why that's such a big deal, I don't know. But the guys really love to throw their fish. So anyway, we stood around and watched that, went through the vegetable markets, went through all of the arts and crafts booth. We stuffed ourselves on fish and chips, ate honey glazed pecans. And then, of course, if you know me, I have to top off everything with a cup of coffee. So we went ahead and went over to the Smith Tower to get a cup of coffee. I had intended, I brought my camera along because I wanted to take some snapshots of the inside of the Smith Tower, because it's one of the buildings or one of the historical sites I use in the Remnant. And I thought it'd be a lot of fun to be able to post it on the newsletter for this month. But when we get there, we found out that they're doing a renovation on the Smith Tower, so they've closed everything down but just the lowest floor where the coffee shop is. So we had coffee, and that was that. And I'll have to go back probably at the end of summer and see if I can't get in there and get some pictures and post them up for you guys. We also took a look at some of the other buildings, like, let me see here. What else did we went to go see? We went to, March of the Market, Smith Tower, and, of course, the Space Needle. And I posted some pictures that I got off of Wikimedia Commons, Public Commons, so you guys would get an idea of what they look like. But, like I said, I want to take some actual photos myself and post them up later. I think it's a lot of fun to be able to see places that the characters in your books actually have been to. And these buildings are, I renamed them. The Smith Tower is actually the stronghold for the Rhodanians, sorcerers. The Smith Tower is the headquarters, or what used to be the headquarters of the Dampers until it was destroyed by the Rhodanians. And then, of course, the Fifth Avenue Tower is the citadel for the Strigoi. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to be able to take a look at those pictures and see where the characters have been in correlation to the story itself. Okay, so now it's time to talk about this month's blog to book. So as you know, the Remnant series itself, I write it chapter by chapter, and I post it in my newsletters, and I post it up on my website. And so my chapter post for this month, for the Exodus, is called Surviving Change. And this post and the next two posts, which means it'll be 3 chapters altogether, is going to be about Innes and Clifton. And it picks up where he's gotten Innes out of Seattle without anybody knowing that she's been infected with the werewolf virus. And they're now in a cabin that's owned by the pack the pack uses for new werewolves to learn how to get a handle on their wolves. And the chapter starts out with Clifton, and he's worried that Innes is not gonna, he's waiting to see whether Innes is going to be able to get a hold of her wolf or not. So I can't tell you any spoilers on it, but I will tell you that things will start to heat up between these two. Tensions are going to get really tough. There's going to be a lot of sexual tension between the two of them because they've been lovers up to this point. But now that Ennis has become a werewolf, the playing field has completely changed, because in that culture, the women are submissive to the alpha wolves. And Ennis McCrae is not a submissive woman, werewolf or not. So there's going to be a lot of sparks that are going to fly sexually, emotionally, mentally, physically. Things are going to really heat up between these two. And anyway, and just to say that I've got a real good idea that these two will eventually end up becoming some of my favorite characters in the book. I've already got a couple that I really, really like. I love Spider. I like the whole hero thing with him. He's just got a real loyalty and a real commitment to the safety of his people, to the welfare of his people, and he's willing to do just about whatever it takes to make sure that his mate Aaron and all of his people are safe. So I just love Spider. I love Bad Boy, so I really like Sorrel. I like Petal. She's just a really kick-ass younger Danfer. I think she's going to give Sorrel a real run for his money, because those two, they just walk in the same room and they just clash. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, the next 3 chapters is going to be about Ennis and Clifton. And it's really going to kind of set the stage for those two in the future. More in book 3 than it's going to be in book 2. Book 2 is just going to kind of set them on a course. You're going to know where she's going, what she's going to need to get, what she's going to need to do if she's going to survive this. Book 3, you're going to see a lot more of those two. But anyway, that's where we're at now with the book, Look the blog. So be sure and read that. If you can't read it in the newsletter, go to my website at rainingnews.com. Where I post all of my new chapters, and I leave them up for a month until the next chapter comes out, and then I take it down, so that by the time the book is finished and I actually get it published, hopefully you'll have read all the chapters. If not, you can get the book then. So next one, the writing journal. In here, I really talk about the importance of reviews, reader reviews, writer reviews. Writers, we survive off of reviews, and so it's really, really, we really need you guys to comment on our books. I mean, good, bad, indifferent, or ugly. It really does help us to know whether we're writing the kind of stories you want to read. If you liked our characters, if you thought they were funny, sexy, if there was enough tension, I mean, whatever the genre is, whatever we're writing, we really need the feedback of our readers. And so with so many good books out there to read, sometimes it's really difficult to make those kind of connections. So I'm really looking for ways to connect with my readers, not just the readers that read my books, but the ones in my blogs and the ones that follow me on Facebook and Twitter. So please, if you have any suggestions on how to make that connection, you can either, I think I'm pretty much included. You can go to rainingpress.com, or you can go to my email, which is at rainingpress. It's rainingpress@gmail.com, and you can either write me an email or go to my website and leave me one in the comments. So either way, both would be really helpful for me. Next one up, if we're going to be talking about the kind of my getting reviews, then I have to put, I have to put my money where my mouth is, and I love to write reviews. I've been writing book reviews for a couple years now. I think it's the best way to show author support. If we like a book, by all means, write a review on it. If you don't like a book, I've written a few reviews where I didn't like the book. I always tried to be nice, but I finally decided, you know what? My mother always told me, if you've got nothing good to say, then don't say anything at all. So I'm down to the part where if I don't like the book, I just don't say anything. But if I do like the book, I want to support other authors, and I love to write reviews. And this month's book review is on The Kraken King by Mel Jean Brooks. This is her latest book in the Iron Seas series. I first read her short story in Enthralled, which is an anthology that she shared, I think, with Laura Lay, and I can't remember who the other two authors were. Anyway, I fell in love with it, and I think it was my first introduction to steampunk, which, I'm always looking for new stuff, and Anyway, it was a natural progression. If I like an author, I like their books. I find everything that author has ever written, and I start reading it. And I love Mel Jean Brooks books, her stories. I love the Kraken King. Nice thing about series are you're kind of always connecting with the same character, so it's kind of like you're making friends and you're meeting up, and you have all these connections with the same people over and over again. And I love it. I just love series. Anyway, the Kraken King, not to give any spoilers away here, but of course her books have to do with the Horde, and they're the aftermath of the Horde, which has been this technological I don't know. Steampunk has a lot to do with science, technology, and fantasy. So the Horde has come in. They screwed everybody's lives up. They went in and they made, they took over people. They put mechanical parts in them. They replaced limbs with gadgets. Anyway, in this one, this is a takeoff from one of her previous books, and main character in here is Zenobia Fox, and she has this guy, Eric, who is the Kraken King, who rescues her from would-be kidnappers. And of course, one thing leads to another. You've got hot, steamy romance going on here. You got, he loves her, she rejects him. Anyway, it's a journey from, I think, they're either in New Zealand or Australia. They're from there, they go up it's a journey to someplace in southern China where they're constantly being chased. Anyway, because Eric has in his possession, or knows where it's at, a machine, a war machine that is so terrible that it can turn good rulers into bad rulers. And he has had enough with the Horde, he's had enough with war. He just wants to live peacefully, and he wants to live peacefully with Zenobia Fox, and he doesn't want to give this war machine to anybody. And so, of course, what that leads to. One person she's going to get kidnapped. They're going to force him to fork over the machine. Anyway, it's a really great story. It's fast-moving, fast-paced. It'll keep you on your toes. It's one of those books where you sit down, you start to read, and you look up, and the entire day is gone, and you're wondering if you've still got enough left in you to keep reading through the middle of the night until you finish the book. So, love it, love it, love it. I recommend that you get the book, and I recommend that you read all of her book, all of her IMC series. They're all great. So that about wraps it up. Be sure, if you haven't seen my trailers on The Gathering and Marcus Shamash, they're both on my newsletter. You can go to YouTube and look them up on my channel. Anyway, that's going to be it. So, if you read my books, you liked them, please write a review. Let me know how you want me to connect with you guys. And so, until next month, thanks for sharing the journey, and I will see you guys in July.